Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Believe in best.
Tonight on Our News, Baha Mar's $200 million water park opens July 2nd. Our Kyle Joaquin has the details. Sandals Royal Bahamian to reopen in November. Why the House Speaker and PM are clashing once again. And our Giorgio Bain tells us how to win Mother's Day on a budget. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, 450 jobs are coming on stream at Baha Mar as the resort prepares to open its water park in 2 months. The resort's president sat down with our Kyle Joaquin, revealing occupancy numbers and what government should do to get more tourists in country.
We're expecting 450 direct jobs.
Hiring is underway at Baha Mar as the resort gets set to open its $200 million luxury beachfront water park, Baha Bay, which sits on 15 oceanfront acres. According to Baha Mar President Graham Davis, 60 new lifeguards began training today, with nearly 400 more staff members expected to be hired in the coming months.
We'll be doing a soft opening of part of our water park here at the end of May 20th. We'll be opening up the Kids Island. That'll be Turtle Cove and Stingray Beach. We'll be opening up here, as well as our river experience and the Baha Bay Beach Club.
Once it opens on July 2nd, Baha Bay will feature 24 slides, a dueling water coaster, a wave pool, action river, and first-of-its-kind surf simulator.
This is just another experience to be adding on to our other fantastic experiences for both children of all ages as well as our adults.
Since the resort reopened in December, leisure bookings are picking up and appear to be strong, according to Davis, who says the booking pace exceeds that of 2019.
On the group market, we're seeing that's still delayed. We'll probably see a pickup in Q3 and into Q4, but our leisure pace is very, very strong. We're still not at occupancy levels higher than 2019. We're still significantly behind. But we are making some great progress going forward.
But Davis says there is one issue: COVID-19 testing required to return to the U.S.
We look forward to the Bahamian government lobbying the U.S. government to stop the testing to go back if you've been vaccinated.
As of May 1st, anyone entering the Bahamas does not have to take a RT-PCR test once they are fully vaccinated. Davis says Baha Mar has conducted over 105,000 tests so far.
Our positivity rate still continues to be low at 0.0015. It's 1.5 guests and associates per 1,000. It's been working very well.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Well, Sandals Royal Bahamian is aiming for a November reopening as it makes a multi-million-dollar renovation to its property. Jared Higgs took a tour today and filed this report.
It's a $37 million investment that Sandals Resorts International Chairman Adam Stewart says isn't the first of its kind.
My family and I over the years have continued to invest in the property, so we at Sandals do it differently. We're continually upgrading as we go, so this is $37 million on top of a reinvestment that never really slowed down.
Sandals Royal Bahamian, the all-inclusive resort situated on the old Balmoral property on West Bay Street, opened its doors in 1995. 26 years later, a makeover of the property is well underway. From refurbished rooms to new restaurants and other amenities, Stewart says the resort is trying to be the top offering in Nassau.
What we do really well as a business is what we call the sizzle. You know, we like being the sexiest, we like being the innovators, being first. I mentioned to the minister a while ago, we're going to be building an over-the-water chapel here.
That over-the-water chapel is exclusive to Sandals, according to Stewart. He says their high-end clients appear to be most active right now. On the tour today, he was joined by Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar and other Sandals officials. The SRI chairman says he's confident leading up to November's reopening.
I have no doubt the hotel will open fully booked out from the end of November. I mean, I can walk back and say to you that hotels that are open right now in the Sandals chain, we're seeing occupancies right now in excess of 80%. Our family hotels in Jamaica and in Turks and Caicos have paid occupancy in excess of 90% on the books.
The pandemic devastated tourism in 2020, leaving thousands out of work. Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar told reporters on Tuesday that the numbers are picking up, but they aren't where they used to be.
It's going to take time as persons get vaccinated and feel safe enough to travel for them to think about a holiday.
But Stewart says 980 members of staff will head back to work in November when doors reopen. With issues like mandated vaccines a hot topic, he says the resort is taking a neutral position and letting their employees decide what they want to do.
We're agnostic. It's a individual's right unless the government has policy on that. Government sets policy, we follow the guidelines.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
2 days after Speaker of the House of Assembly Halson Moultrie announced that outstanding issues in Parliament had been resolved, the Speaker revealed that even bigger issues are brewing. Moultrie today berating the Minnis administration, calling on Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis to address the issues he deemed disturbing. Jasmine Brown has more.
The House Speaker was emphatic today as he lashed out at the Minnis administration, insisting there are still many outstanding issues. This as he also accused the Minnis administration of continuing to drag Parliament like a dinghy boat. Members of Parliament and HOA employees were tested last week after the Chief Clerk tested positive for COVID-19. Moultrie says he doesn't like how things have played out since then.
The most disturbing part to me was to discover that certain persons were called and were notified that they were negative with no conditions attached, while other persons were called and informed that they were negative but that they should not attend work or this Parliament until the contract tracing process was complete.
Moultrie went on to explain that the HOA staff member was called out of quarantine and told that she was protected because of the antibodies that developed in her system as a result of her previously contracting COVID last September. Moultrie says the same individual was asked to stay out of Parliament on Wednesday, even though she tested negative for COVID-19 last week.
The level of disrespect and dishonesty is something that I am severely challenged with, because we're dealing with COVID-19. Now, the result of telling that individual that she cannot attend this Parliament is that the two persons who are considered loyal to the Speaker are denied the right to be in this Parliament.
The Speaker says it's unfair that members of Parliament are allowed to return to the HOA after testing negative, while the same rules did not apply to his loyal staffers. Those were not the only issues bothering the Speaker.
It's time for the staff of this Parliament to be paid their overtime for 4 years now. 4 years. It's time for this Parliament to pass a resolution so that we can meet in hybrid form, face-to-face or virtually. It's time. It's time for the independence of this Parliament and for the executive branch of the government to stop dragging this Parliament around like a dinghy boat.
As Moultrie lashed out, he also spoke directly to the Prime Minister, calling on him to address the matter on the floor of the House, including what he called a hatched plan to test members for COVID-19 without involving him in the plan. Minnis had other plans as he attempted to move on with the business of the House.
Mr. Speaker, today we're debating two bills, and I want to debate them as a compendium, and that is a bill for an act to amend the insurance.
Honorable Member Fukalani, I'm not at that stage yet. I am still at Speaker's communication.
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, I've always been told that communications are not to be contentious, and therefore I would respond to that at the appropriate time.
I don't see the contention in this communication.
After a brief back and forth between the Speaker and MP for Yamacraw Ellsworth Johnson, acting leader of Government Business and Southern Shores MP Frankie Campbell requested a 10-minute suspension. The House resumed about 40 minutes later with no mention of the events that led to the suspension, and debate began on the Securities Industries Amendment Bill 2021. Reporting for Our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, the Prime Minister remained mum on the matter as he exited the House of Assembly this afternoon.
The Speaker making several comments, calling on you to respond to some concerns that he's been having.
PM, any response to the speaker?
While the PM did not respond to reporters, opposition leader Philip Davis says he believes the deteriorating relationship between House of Assembly Speaker Halson Moultrie and the government is interfering with the people's business.
The Prime Minister has been taking the Speaker for granted, in the sense that from what he had to say, he obviously was disrespected. He found himself with somebody filling in for the clerk, without any notice to him, so he had to send that, and he took the stand that that person should be in the House. He's concerned about the COVID rules, and obviously what he's reminding the Prime Minister is that this pandemic is serious, and he's not taking it serious.
Davis says he believes the conversation between Moultrie and Minnis should have been a private one.
We are not going to get into the issue between the Speaker and the government at this time, because this government has expressed their confidence in him, and as such they need to ride it until it's come to its conclusion, whatever that conclusion may be.
Warm and pleasant conditions in the capital today. Greg Thompson has the details in the Weather Center.
Thanks, Christina, and welcome to our weather on this Wednesday evening. Outside our studios, very warm conditions once again. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 70s, 77 degrees outside our studios. With just a few clouds, southeast winds at 6 knots, and your feels-like temperature in the mid to upper 70s once again this evening. Satellite view, once again we have quiet weather around the islands. High pressure remains in charge, mostly sunny skies. Slightly breezy, but warm temperatures out there, and those temperatures will start to fall off as the evening goes on. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, what's the holdup for Exuma roadworks? A little later, how you can save big on Mother's Day flowers. But first, the Bahamas and FAA sign a landmark airspace agreement. That's coming up when our news returns.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer.
And you? You are an overcomer. I know because you have endured and persevered through so many of life's biggest challenges.
Join us for stories like yours, stories of incredible strength, courage, and survival. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m., right here on RTV.
Journey TV.
Journey TV.
We share
life's truths.
After more than 10 years, the Bahamas will finally be able to collect its own overflight fees, with the signing of an air navigation services agreement expected to yield up to $350 million over the next 10 years. Berthany McDermott reports.
Tourism Minister Dionisio de Aguilar estimates the deal may yield up to $350 million. As of May 1, 2021, aircrafts landing, flying over, or departing the Bahamas' airspace will start paying fees to the Bahamas Air Navigation Services Authority, or BANSA.
We reckon in the first year it should be between $20 to $30 million. And then obviously right now we're in a depressed aviation sector. COVID-19 has significantly impacted the aviation sector, and we envision over time this growing to $30 to $40 million.
Officials say negotiations into this agreement date back to 2004. The tourism minister says fees collected can only be used to manage and operate the country's civil aviation system.
The 1st of May 2021, all airspace users that land and take off from Bahamian airports and fly within Bahamian airspace will now pay a fee of $1 per arriving and departing passenger, plus a flat fee of $10 up to $61 for each flight, depending on the maximum takeoff weight of the aircraft. The airline will build that into a ticket, pennies, 30, 40, 50 cents, maybe $1. Obviously, the larger the plane. I don't know specifically, because obviously each aircraft will attract a different fee.
He added that for decades, aircrafts paid overflight fees to the Federal Aviation Administration, which was assigned 75% of Bahamian airspace. Cuba was assigned the remaining 25%. Diaghiler says the FAA will continue providing air navigation services free of charge to allow the Bahamas to build capacity to fully navigate its own airspace. However, government will pay the FAA an $80,000 annual fee for flight data. U.S. Charge d'Affaires Usha Pitts congratulated the Bahamas on the agreement.
This agreement, of course, cements our cooperation for the next 10 years, so following on a history of cooperation in airspace. And it also begins a process whereby the Bahamas can take a greater ownership of their own airspace. And that's why I say it is also a great day for Bahamian patriots. So we are very thrilled with this progress that we are making together and very happy to be part of this cooperation.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Berthany McDermott.
Well, Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis explaining major delays in Exuma roadworks in Parliament today. Roads on that island have been a major issue for Exuma residents who told Our News the process is simply taking too long.
I want to remind and inform the Exumians that the new road that we are building, that the delay was as a result of the asphalt having to be transported here to New Province to ensure it underwent the proper scientific testing and the quality is maintained so that the roads would last for a long time.
Much of Exuma's infrastructure is older than 15 years, which is the life cycle for the road surface mixture if it's well maintained. When Our News comes back from the break, our Jillian Gray dives into Paradise Cove on Grand Bahama. Our Giorgio Bain has a fresh idea for Mother's Day and a hot streak for Bahamian stars in the NBA. The details when Our News returns.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer.
And you? You are an overcomer. I know because you have endured and persevered through so many of life's biggest challenges.
Join us for stories like yours, stories of incredible strength, courage, and survival. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m., right here on RTV.
Journey TV.
Journey TV.
We share
Life's truths.
Ever felt like swimming with turtles or kayaking just off the Atlantic Ocean? Tonight, our Jillian Gray introduces us to a little piece of paradise on Grand Bahama.
My name is Barry Smith. I'm the owner and operator of Paradise Cove Beach Resort. We've been in business for about 25, 30 years. And what we do out here is basically try to give the tourists and the natives more of a Bahamian experience.
Nestled between West End and Freeport in the quaint community of Deadman's Reef lies a little piece of paradise.
It's actually the best sunset on the island. You have the rocks that are right out here. And like I said, we have the turtles and we have, some of the best reef systems on the island right here at Paradise Cove.
Barry Williams is a lover of nature and says he decided to give back to the ocean, which provides him with his livelihood by growing coral through the reef ball system, the largest in the Bahamas.
When we preserve the reefs and we preserve the mangroves, we actually help ourselves in the long run because we're sustaining ourselves, our sustainability here on the islands as the rising sea levels, but also for food and for tourism.
While they were spared from severe damage during Dorian, they didn't miss the devastating effects of the pandemic.
For about 4 to 5 months there, I was completely closed. And then slowly the government made some adjustments to what could open, outside dining. And
From kayaking to diving with sea turtles, Smith says there's no better place to stay than their secluded villas. Just bring a toothbrush.
You have your own private beach, you have your own private lounge chair, you have your own private coconut tree. You can pick the coconuts right off the tree and, have fresh coconuts if you want. If you can't do it, I'll cut it open for you too, so it's not a problem,
So if you're interested in an escape from the norm, contact Barry Smith at Paradise Cove to get your slice of paradise. Reporting for Our News from Grand Bahama, I'm Jillian Gray.
Well, the fairy tale season continues for DeAndre Ayton and the Suns. Meanwhile, Buddy Hield and the Kings on a hot streak. Marcellus Hall has the latest.
All right, thanks a lot, Christina. Welcome to our sports on a Wednesday, everybody. I'm Marcellus Hall. Well, once upon a time, the Phoenix Suns were in first place in the Western Conference. I know it sounds like a fairy tale, but in actuality, this is really happening. Suns in action last night in first place in the Western Conference. Phoenix Suns and Bahamian big man DeAndre Ayton continuing what has been an eye-opening track through the NBA regular season. Last night, traveling to Cleveland, taking on the Cavaliers, Ayton making his presence felt in his 36 minutes on the floor. He would finish with 15 points, 8 rebounds, 5 blocks, and an assist. Suns pull away in overtime to get the win here, 134-118. Victory means Phoenix continues to lead the Western Conference with a 47-18 record. They play again tonight when they take on the Atlanta Hawks. Sacramento Kings and Buddy Hield have been intent on playing spoiler these days, with no hope of making the playoffs, and with a number of key players injured, the Kings have been playing well despite the odds. Last night, Kings taking down the OKC Thunder 103-99. Buddy, 18 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists in the ballgame. Kings try to make it now 4 wins in a row when they take on the Indiana Pacers. That game comes your way this evening. And there it is, your check on sports for you this Wednesday. I'm Marcellus Hall. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Marcellus. After the break, Greg is back in the Weather Center, plus how you can DIY the perfect Mother's Day bouquet. Stay with us.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer.
I am an overcomer.
And you? You are an overcomer. I know because you have endured and persevered through so many of life's biggest challenges.
Join us for stories like yours, stories of incredible strength, courage, and survival. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m., right here on RTV.
Journey TV.
Journey TV.
We share
life's truths.
Welcome back to our news. More hot, sunny days ahead. Greg has the latest in the Weather Center.
Thanks again, Christina, and happy Wednesday evening, everybody. Very, very warm conditions around the islands as that high is persistent across the area. Eventually, it's going to be backing out towards the east. That will allow our winds to slacken off over the next day or two before we see a frontal boundary, but that high is responsible for keeping everything well to the north. Storm system setting up across the Gulf states. We expect the tail end of that to get into the Bahamas sometime Friday, so we could see an increase in some showers for the weekend and then a slight cool down for the weekend and the upcoming week. Boating conditions for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow. Southeast to south winds 10 to 15 knot seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean, while in the southeast Bahamas, east to southeasterly flow 15 knot seas running 3 to 5 feet over the ocean. You can expect your low tide at 10:40 tonight. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Monday. That's a look at our weather. Have a safe evening, everybody. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg. Well, nothing says Happy Mother's Day more than a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Money may be a little tight for some, but Giorgio Bain shows us that doesn't mean you can't give Mom her flowers.
You don't have to be a professional to put an unforgettable floral arrangement together, according to owner of Rainbow Flowers, Yolanda Winder, who says it can be a fun and affordable DIY project this Mother's Day.
Roses, everybody knows roses. Roses, lilies, carnations, hydrangeas, orchids, they are my go-to. You might just want to be cost effective, so you could purchase a bunch of flowers for as low as $10. And you could take that flowers and probably purchase like 3 bunches that you can collab together. So you could spend $30, $40 and put that in that old vase that you may have at home, and you can do it yourself.
Yolanda gave us a walkthrough of what you'll need for your DIY arrangement.
As we mentioned, DIY, you can purchase a pack of tulips. As for me, I have 2 packs here, and that old vase that I talked about. You could get one of those, and then we have some greenery, which is salal. We have those. So I'm gonna make this real easy.
Now watch carefully.
See how tall you would want your arrangement? In this aspect, I'm gonna go short. Make it fun. You don't have to be so exact, not because you think you may not know what you're doing, but it's gonna be your creation.
The next step is adding your greenery.
And it looks like Mom.
Of course, if you're not interested in doing it yourself, Yolanda would be more than happy to do it for you.
This one here, in this nice cute little bag, took me maybe about 30 minutes to put together. And something like this will run you into between the prices of $65 and $75, depending on the type of flowers.
Rainbow Flowers is located on East Street. Telephone number 328-0101. Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Bain.
Thanks, Giorgio. And thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas. Stay tuned for a new episode of the new Sawyer Boy TV show.